subscribe for free. Hustle for Radio. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We are in the den with Everett Browning Sr. He is running for state senate of Maryland. He said he want to run the whole state, and he want to tell us why it's important to get out there and vote. Everett Browning Sr. You're now plugged into Phocuzradio. Yes, sir. How you doing today?
Hey, what's going on, brother? I'd like to say, first of all, it's a pleasure. I'd like to thank you, Black Rose, Ms. Taylor, here for giving me the opportunity to speak directly to the people. So oftentimes that we don't get a chance, new candidates, to talk to the people, because a lot of times we feel as if the people in the streets don't matter.
Right.
We need to make sure that their voices matter, that someone's speaking for them, they're not forgotten, that whether they call it Prince George's County or PG, that everybody around here matters and benefits.
And you know what? I seen your post maybe a month and a half ago, and I said I never heard of this guy. So I started reading. I did some research. I seen it that one time, and now I'm seeing it. So we like the process of the candidates that we bring in.
Yeah.
Now with 1 million people behind them, and that we like the process, and they stand for something. That's why we bring him here, because we see the same vision, and that's what I seen. And I had told Miss Angela Taylor, and also along with BJ Page, he said, reach out to that brother. And Angela Taylor was like, tell Rose Brown to reach out to him. I told Angela Taylor, I said, we've been reaching out to Mr. Brown for like a month. We trying to get him on. So we finally got you in the booth. You're now plugged in. I want Rose Brown to kick this off. Rose Brown, ask Mr. Everett a question you want to ask.
Tell us what you want to do for Maryland.
Well, Maryland for District 24.
Well, District 24. And
That's right.
And like I said, I'm running for State Senate for Maryland, District 24 in Prince George's County, which covers areas from Bowie to Mitchellville, Woodmore, Largo, Glendale. But then it also goes over then it also moves over to Suitland, Seat Pleasant, and Capitol Heights.
Okay.
So you get the whole reach of Prince George's County. You got some people who average income is 6 figures, and other people who want a fixed income of minimum wage, just trying to make it by. But right now, what's happening as Prince George's County grows, everybody's not having a seat at the table. Recently, earlier today, I was at a meeting talking about the new hospital coming to Largo, and my question was, I'm glad the hospital is coming up, but why don't I see any programs to make sure either in a high school or college that we're training the next generation of employees there? Why isn't there an increase in nursing, CNA, x-ray technicians? Why aren't we making sure that the local people who are paying taxes to build this hospital, that their kids, their great-grandkids don't have a pipeline to be employed there? Right now, Prince George's County brags all the time about being the most affluent and educated African-American county in the nation. However,
where do we rank now?
Right now, we rank number 1 as far as money education, but when it comes to our school system, we're next to last. When it comes to our taxes, we pay the most. When it comes to foreclosure rates, we're almost the highest in the nation. And when it comes to black-owned businesses, we're almost at the bottom. So the truth is, we're almost like a plantation in a way. We have all the talent, people doing the work, but we don't own anything besides our homes. Most of the young businesses around here who are coming up are struggling. When they look at the taxes, we look at the permits, it doesn't seem to be a big push to make sure that we benefit in this county. And a little about myself, I did 21 years in the military. I've been in Iraq, I've been in Afghanistan. I served my country, and I started serving my country because, like most people, I was a teenage father. I had 3 kids by the time I was 20, and I'm proud to say now I have 3 kids who are college graduates, 3 kids with graduate degrees and 1 in law school. So I understand what it's like when people invest in you and see more than you from where you come from. Currently, I'm the vice president of 100 Black Men of Prince George's County Mentoring Program. And so we're constantly out there talking to these young men. And a lot of times I feel as if between the age maybe like 14 and say like 35, no one's having a conversation with that generation.
Right.
Everyone's so happy to be about, well, I got my house and I got mine, but no one's reaching out and says, who I'm passing this on to? No matter what we do, we are not living forever. The MGM, the hospital, and all these things are coming, it's going to be passed on. And this generation we're in right now, it's like we don't understand. Sometimes you plant seeds for fruit that's not for you. It's for the next generation. And my life been blessed. I own a few businesses. I do acquisition. I do contracts. But when I looked around, I asked myself, at the end of the day, I fought for my country. I fought for other countries. But I didn't fight for my community. And I didn't make my community a place where I can feel good feeling as if my daughters and my grandkids can grow up and have the same opportunities I have. So for me, it wasn't a matter of I need politics to define my life. The greatest things I've done in my life was raise my kids and serve my country. So I'm good with what's going to be said with me in my obituary. What I'm not good about is the fact that what I'm leaving behind.
Right.
And there's a lot of people, I was the same way. I was frustrated. So I'm in a barbershop, I'm around the church, I'm around my friends, I'm complaining. Why is school so bad? Why are jobs so bad? Why are opportunities so bad? And then I realized, like, if we don't raise our frustrations from a conversation to activation, all we're doing is being a part of the problem.
Exactly. I've got a couple of questions,
Yes,
just based on what you have already shared. Because I contend that parents are there during elementary school.
Yes.
We lose our kids at the middle school phase, and
Yes.
parents are there on the end. Now, I'm remembering probably about 5-7 years ago, Prince George's County ranked very highly nationwide in its education system. What has happened since then? That are you saying that we're at the bottom?
Well, we're right. Statewide, we're right behind Baltimore County when it comes to performance and looking at graduation rates, test scores, and kids going to college. But I ask people all the time, how do we measure success when it comes to education? A lot of times people say, well, how many kids are graduating, how many going to college? But you only have maybe 30% going to college. So how are we measuring that those other 70% are prepared to be citizens? How do we make sure? Because we took away the vocational training, we took away the skills training. And what happened was we had the same amount of students and pretty much the same budget as Montgomery County. But their students, they're ranked in the top 5 and we're in the bottom 5, basically for 2 reasons. We pay so much money to our administrators, our top people who are not even in the classrooms.
Wow, yeah.
And then we have so many infrastructure problems.
So do you think these people are getting paid too much and not qualified? You say we had the same budget as Moe County. These people are making a lot of money, but are they qualified for these positions? We have a lot of problems in Prince George's County schools.
We got a lot of problems in the school system nationwide.
Yes, we do. Yes,
because
we
they
do.
have taken too many things out of the system that our children need to effectively function in society. They've taken out phonics in many schools. Of course, they've taken out civics and government, so people do not understand the importance of the political process. Nobody is holding a town hall to explain to the community that we, the people, run the government. People just poo-poo elections because they say, well, they're going to do what they are going to do anyway, because nobody's educating them on the fact that they are the voice. They are the people who put the folks in the office to run the government. So what are you doing in that vein, Mr.
The biggest thing I realized, like most people here, I was ignorant myself to a certain degree about, you get so caught up with CNN and the news, you look what's happening down in D.C. and nationally, but you don't realize your schools, your taxes, your jobs, your opportunities always start locally. And like most people, I couldn't even tell anybody who my state delegate was, who my state senator was, who my county councilman was, when the last time I have been, but most people couldn't, where we were. And then when I start asking those questions, I realized something real simple. In this 80% black Mecca, when I looked at, we have the longest serving president of a state senate in the nation. Right here in Prince George's County, who the state building is named after him. He runs everything in the county, and it's a white man named Mike Miller. Then when you look at the majority whip, is a man named J.J. Peters. So the president, the majority whip, the superintendent of our school system, the chief of our police are all white men in this black Mecca. And I said, okay, I don't want to assume that, white men or white people can't be over black people, but you show me a place that's 80% white where you have black people in charge and calling the shots.
But a big part of that problem, Mr. Browning, is that we're not educating
We're not.
community.
Yeah.
Because education is not confined to a classroom. We're not doing enough to reach out to the community.
And Prince George's County is a unique place. You almost have a lot of people who come in here first generation, a lot of people who were blessed and they move here, so they don't have that community feel, so they don't feel they're informed. And to tell you the truth, I talk to a lot of people, and in my opinion, coming from the South is, we're the first generation who has a voice, but we don't know how to use it. Meaning, when I talk to my father and my grandmother, they told me that when they went to a school, no matter how bad a school was, they really weren't empowered to complain because they was told, you blessed to be able to go to school. You blessed to have somewhere to go eat. So they didn't complain. They was in a mindset of you take what you have and be thankful for it and make the most of it. Mm-hmm. So we need to change that mindset and realize we pay the most taxes in the state. We've earned the right to stand up and say we deserve better. In other counties around here, we hold our elected officials accountable. Mm-hmm. We elect the same people over and over again and ask what's the problem because we allowed our leadership to do something that's crazy. They stand up and take credit for everything that's great. But when something goes wrong, it's never them. They point the finger and it confuses. They say, well, that's not me. That's the school board. That's the county exec. That's the state legislature. That's the county. If you're not informed, you don't exec. There's a long list of names of people we don't know what the office do. We don't know those people, and we check the box. And so while the people in office are accountable, we own our own responsibility. We own our own responsibility, and it's up to elected officials. In District 24, I have 85,000 registered Democrats. In the last couple of elections, it's been below 15,000 showing up to vote.
Exactly. Yeah. Because again, we do not take the initiative, not only in the school system, but in the community, to let folks know that you are the voice of the government. And we have to get folks in office who will take the initiative to go out in the community and to do that, or at least to form a group of people who will go out as their liaison to educate people about that. That's a big reason why I love being involved with this show, because it gives me a voice. People, if they don't know, if they listen to Phocuzville, they will know. Right. Because exactly. I did not come from the background that you came from. I came from a background of accountability. I'm a senior citizen, and I'm a lot closer to the end than I am to the beginning. I saw my father go out and go up to the schools. If something wasn't right in the school, I saw my mother check the teacher if her qualifications weren't intact. If she wasn't giving us what my mother, who went to DC teachers way back when, needed, then she would take the responsibility and the initiative to say, hey, we could be doing some different stuff here. Yeah. This is where I came from. This is where I am, and this is what I teach my children. And I'm really, I cannot even put into words how I feel about the way elected officials, in particularly, the classroom teachers, and the what's the CEO's name?
Maxwell.
Maxwell, yeah,
is telling folks that you have to. They're trying to revert back to social promotion. You're a certain age, so you got to move to the next grade. Mm-hmm. We're sending people through the school system nationwide who are not equipped to go out to college. And when they do apply, they have to take 2 and 3 semesters of remedial courses so they can be prepared to take the college courses. So ergo, 3 to 4 years has turned into 7 to 8 years. What are you going to do to start to change that dynamic?
Well, the first thing, the first bill I want to push for education is accountability. We need to go in there and do an audit and see where's all the money going. And second of all, we need to take all this standardized testing. We test a kid in 3rd grade, and if he scores a certain way, we take him out of a certain class, but we don't realize that day he took that class, he might not have breakfast for the last 2 days. Mm-hmm. He might come from an abused household, but that day on that test, we define his future. So we need to take out the standardized testing and make sure that the money is getting to the classroom, that the classrooms are updated to the 24th century. And that's that we need to partner with people. I work right now with the Intel community, and I go in there all day. I don't see enough people looking like me walking those halls, but I hear them all the time talking about we don't have enough people coming up in a pipeline to work those. So we need to bring in different partners to bring the STEM training in, to bring different avenues to prepare our kids to be successful. Every kid is not ready to go to college right away. And just because the kid is not going to college doesn't mean he can't be successful right away. We just need to prepare people and define that word success. Or do you have a skill? Do you have a path to lead your life? And so we need to stop saying, do you meet a certain mark, therefore we're going to push you, instead of saying every kid's an opportunity. And the next thing we got to do, the truth is, we got to start holding everybody accountable.
Everybody.
And parents have to be accountable.
That you have the model that you have is a breath of fresh air. Accountability, integrity, and results.
Yes. I'm real big on that. You know, I believe if you step up and you decide you want to lead, whether you're a parent, whether you're a community leader, whether you're a radio host, there's a sense of accountability because people look up to you. So you need to make sure that you say, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect, but I'm doing the best I can, and that you're transparent. When I say integrity, there's a lot of business people and there's a lot of people in the community who don't trust their leadership. And I'm not just talking about your political leadership. I'm not trying to step on any toes, but they don't trust a lot of the people in the church right now. They feel as if everybody's out for themselves and they don't care about the community. They don't have a voice right now. And that's why when I first started doing this, I started going into a lot of the political meetings. I was seeing the same people. But I wasn't seeing any of the people who was going through problems. And so that's when I was blessed to get with brothers like BJ Page who say, you know what, let me take you to the real PG. Let me show you people who are really going through things, who've been here for years, who's struggling. And these people don't want to leave. They don't want to move outside the Beltway. They don't want to move to Mitchellville. They just want their community to get back to what it was. And I realized I need to stop running for an office and start realizing I'm running to represent people. I need to go on a job interview and I need to talk to all my bosses. But I have to make sure that everyone realize you have to show up and vote. You have to hold me accountable. If I ain't doing my job, call me, text me, knock on my door, come to my office, stand behind me. When I fight for you, when I'm down there fighting for money, when I'm fighting for your educational programs, I need the community behind me. I'm not speaking for myself, I'm speaking for the community.
That's right.
And that's things that get moved. But as we have to start measuring success on the number of people that we get subsidies to and the number of people that the amount of people we move from subsidies to being self-sufficient.
So what are some tools you feel as though that's needed to be successful?
The biggest thing I tell you the truth, I tell people is, regardless of your background, what you need to do, you need to believe in yourself. You need to believe that anything is possible. And if no one is telling you you're great, you need to find, if you're in a room and you're the smartest person in that room, you need to leave that room. If you're in a room and everybody's agreeing with you around, you need to leave that. And I understand a lot of times we talk about our young kids having PTSD. And I was mentoring a lot of kids. They would say, well, we got to work with those kids and give them tools. But I told them, in a war zone, we don't treat PTSD in a war zone because those same feelings of alertness, that keeps you alive. And those tools are keeping our kids alive. So we need to change our kids' environment. Mm-hmm. And so that tools of success is for to say, you know what, I have no problem helping you, but you got to put in your work too. You got to put in your work too. And we can't be afraid as black people to start turning our lights on. We can't be afraid to start opening our closet doors and say, this is broke in our community. It can't always be the man that's doing it to us. He's holding us back. Because as long as we don't get together, we give them the power to hold us back. But once we come together and say, we're not going to tolerate this. I don't care how much money you make. I understand, it's hard sometimes for mothers and fathers working 2 jobs to go to school, but you got to go to that school. You got to check your kid's homework. You got to be more invested in your kid's future than yourself. And then also we got to make sure that as these new buildings are coming up and they're telling us 13,000 jobs are coming to the county, but then they say, well, we don't have the skill set in the county to hire people here, so we got to go outside. We got to say, no, you're getting a $20 million tax break to bring your business here. You will invest to make sure that our people are trained to be there. It's about showing up. Number one thing that we can do to change this county around is to show up. Show up to vote. Show up to your HOA. Show up to your PTA meeting. Show up to your city council meeting. Show up to your county council meeting. Show up down in the north and let them know that this is your home. You're not going nowhere, and no longer we will be silent. And don't go by yourself. Drag somebody down there. If all you're doing is being frustrated and sitting around and saying this is wrong, then you know what, you're wrong too. Because I realized I was in that same position where I was pointing and said somebody needs to step up. Somebody needs to do it. Why this is wrong? How can we fix it? Then I realized the big question is who? Who's responsible? Who's accountable? And if I'm not putting my name out there, if I'm not willing because when you run for office, it costs a lot of money. Mm-hmm. When you run for office, people come after you. They go out through your taxes. They go through your background. Exactly. They go through your family and Facebook, and you expose yourself. So I understand that risk. But I put my life on the line for this country. So for me, if I can't put my life on my line for this community, my family, then all I did before doesn't matter. So it's about a moment doesn't become a movement without sacrifice. We want to live in the moment of this is a great black place. But we don't get a movement unless, what are we sacrificing? And it can't be more than I'm going to show up and vote. Is what am I going to do to get the right people elected? What am I going to do to make sure the people in office are accountable? What am I going to do to make sure that my voice is heard, that the needs of my community is there? It's more than just pulling a lever. It's more than just going on Facebook and saying this ain't right, I don't care about this. It's more than sitting around doing the card game in church and talking. It's what are you sacrificing?
What are you willing to do?
Yes,
we
what
have
do
to
you
roll
do?
up our sleeves.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
and
ma'am.
get busy.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
let me ask you, rehabilitation for ex-offenders.
Yes. So the first one of the first events I held was an expungement fair. I set a lot of brothers. I got family members, I'm not gonna lie, who've been through things. So I held an expungement fair at Suitland Library, at Spalding Library, and I brought in lawyers and I brought in employers. And what we did was, if you brought your records in and there was things we can get off your records so you can apply for a job, we did that for you for free. And we had employers on the spot hiring offenders. And we had I had Prince George's County Community College there, working with an amazing brother named Chef Everett Browning, who's over the culinary school down there, who was saying he takes an ex-offenders, trains in the culinary schools, entrepreneurship, and he puts his name on the line and goes with them down to the Gaylord at MDM.
Where is that? Where is it?
PGCC, Chef Everett Browning. He puts his name on the line. He trains these brothers up, takes them down there and says, listen, I understand you may be hesitant to hire this ex-offender, but I'm putting my name on the line. So working with brothers like that. So I've done expungement fair for brothers like that. Right now, I'm working with a group to try to bring the first transition house here, working with BJ Page and some other brothers, saying how can we get a transition house here so when brothers come home they have a support system so they don't have to go to DC has a lot of services.
I was shocked to hear that
there's no halfway house, no trans house.
Yeah.
People go to DC and get services, but these brothers are coming home. As long as these brothers are not home, our families are suffering. Our young men are not seeing role models. There's no one here to protect our sisters. There's no one saying that you can fall and get back up. So I've held expungement fairs. I'm working on a transition house, and I'm doing all I can to make sure that not only do they have jobs, but they have careers, that they have the opportunity to stand up and go in our community.
And did you follow because I know Victor Ramirez, he's over my way. He's done that same kind of thing too, but I don't think that he had employers there. I mean, he held the expungement fair.
Yeah, and it was there was a lot of great people who had a expungement fair. The first one I went to was held by Angela Alsterbrook, and that's how I found out that there's a lot of things on record, but it costs a lot for brothers to get their record cleared. Or things they don't automatically come off. Right. So I started to do it, but then I went to another one. I realized brothers said, "Okay, my record is cleared, but the skill set of how do I apply for a job?" So we have brothers there doing job training on resumes. Then I said, let me bring employers and let these brothers know that we're not going to be a one-day thing. Mm-hmm. So we had employers there, we had training people there, and we also had organizations that had support groups there. Because a lot of times what we do is we do events to make us feel good. We do, I told people, we do like Christmas or turkey giveaways. Mm-hmm. I felt good because I gave a certain amount of money to give a Christmas to a homeless family. Mm-hmm. But you know what? The next day, they got told us, but they still homeless. What have you done? Have you invested in their lives? And just telling them, brothers, I cleaned your record off, but I haven't helped you prepare yourself to be successful. All I did was make myself feel good so I can brag to my friends that I'm socially conscious. Mm-hmm. But if I'm not looking at your tomorrow and I'm just investing in this day, then I'm not making your life better. All I'm doing is make stuff better.
I've got another question here.
Yes, ma'am.
I see you doing all this stuff on and I'm going to say the high end. But what are we doing to prepare parenting programs? Prince George's County, to my knowledge, has little, if any, parenting programs. There are been a lot of problems over the past couple of years with folks abusing kids in daycare. You get young people who are trying to get that minimum wage job so they can have some change in their pocket. We're not equipping the parents, I guess that's what I'm saying. Is there anything in your platform that's going to start preparing these babies who have had babies to, get them some kind of a foundation, some value structure, so they'll know what to teach and or reinforce at home and at school? Did that make sense?
It makes sense. Like I said to you before, I had my first kid at 15, and I was there and I understand what it's like when you're trying to figure out your life yourself. You're responsible for someone else.
Exactly.
And the problem we're having, there are some programs here, but the truth is, a lot of time most parents aren't humble enough to say, I need help. And that's a problem that we have. Mm-hmm. But what we have to do is, and I've said this, I went to a lot of churches and I told this. I said, the churches ain't always saying the doors of the church are open. And I said, that means they're open for people to come in, but they're also open for the churches to go out in the community and start doing these programs like in the morning or at night, to do it with dignity. We have to find a way to help people without making them feel ashamed that that they need help, that we're looking down on, that we're doing you a favor. You can help people with dignity, because most people want to be on their own. They want to stand on their own. Stop telling them you got to keep showing up for a handout and stop preparing them. And so what I said before is, as we giving all these millions, tens of millions of dollars of tax breaks to the hospital, to Kaiser, to MGM, all these different places building here, we need to tell them part of that program is you're going to get a free grant and scholarship program at a community college or trade schools for local parents and citizens and young people to come get trained up. And you got to do them. You have to do them at night. You have to do them in the daytime where people can go there. We have to find a way to tell people we're going to meet you halfway. We're going to give you opportunity. And that's the big thing. The biggest thing I think we can offer anybody is opportunity with dignity. Now, some people we know, unfortunately, just want a handout. They don't want to put that work in. But if you have someone to say, I made a mistake, my life is off, I want to do better, we have to give them the avenue. There are so many great free programs in this county, so many great 503, so many great organizations, but they don't have the budget to market, so people don't know about it. So to a certain degree, I wonder why the government isn't a bridge to get people in need to the good people who are trying to make a difference. And so many programs around here are fighting for the same grant money that they're cutting throats on each other. Yeah. We need to build that network need to be like a net that catches everybody. It has to stop being a way of my nonprofit is better than your nonprofit, but we're not getting to the people in need because they can't give back to us. It has to be a focus where people in leadership and government have to stop looking out for themselves and look out for the people. We have so many public officials that the only thing they know how to do is be in government. They don't, that's their job. That's their main source of income. So getting elected to them is more important than serving. So whatever they got to do to make sure they get the money for whoever they get to, whoever they got to cut through, as long as they get their job, because unfortunately they know people are not going to vote.
Well, let me ask you this, Mr. Browning. What needs to be done so that the minority folks can benefit as far as low income education, health awareness, and like Mrs. Taylor said, parenting?
Yes.
So as far as for the low income, we don't want them to stay at that same level.
No.
And what I have seen is this generation, and maybe because the programs aren't in place for employment, or maybe more training as far as because a lot of these people have skills.
They do.
But they've been generational cursed.
We have to go
I've seen people with low income take advantage of the system.
Yes.
And we get tired of it, especially when we can't get these tax breaks. And they're giving them to the rich and not us, and raising ours.
Okay, coupled with the fact, because I'd like to revisit, you said something about helping people and giving them dignity. If you teach people, give them a foundation. How about teaching them some humility so they won't be apprehensive about asking? And that's where the parenting piece, or the foundational, the 101 basic stuff comes in. These people out here don't know. And when babies have babies, you cannot teach what you do not know. We have got to do something at that foundational level before we can see some change.
And I think that starts with accountability. Both of you said, we'll say, you know what? I'm going to give you these subsidies. I'm going to give you these training. Mm-hmm. But in return, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to help the community. You're going to have to volunteer at the school, whether it's cleaning up or working in the cafeteria. You're going to help us. I'm going to clean up, work at a senior citizen home or one of that's part. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to humble yourself to realize this is not free. We're going to give you the opportunity to be self-sufficient, but you're going to have to give back. Because most of us, there's a lot of people right now who've put in that work, who sacrifice, who pour themselves up. Then we have family members and friends we feel as if are just getting over. And we're like, wait a minute, this is not right. So it's not a matter of us not caring about giving back, but we were saying, do your part too. So we need, like you said before, we need to make sure that humility comes. You get humility and dignity when you say, all right, this assistant comes with a requirement, a responsibility on your part. Exactly. Now, if you're not willing to show up at the school a couple hours a week, if you're not willing to pick up trash, if you're not willing to volunteer to senior home, then you know what? You don't want to be a part of this collective community. Then good luck on yourself. It's not us turning our back on you, but it's saying that, there are other people who work and paying taxes to benefit you, and you can't go in a restaurant and say, well, I'm going to eat for free because I don't make as much money as that person. No, everybody got to pay one way or another. And so we got to get there and do that. And so we need to make sure that humility comes, and like our brother Focus was saying, we need to make sure that we're given opportunities early in life. We need to make sure that to a certain degree that those of us who are able are going back to the communities and say, are either you be a part of the solution or you got to go. We can't sit around and say that the people destroying our community, regardless of their color, that we accept it, that we understand it. We understand that right now there's a lot of people out there who don't have opportunities to go to work, who don't have opportunity to get educated, and so they have to do what they have to do to turn to crime. But if we give them opportunities and you still choose to destroy our community, we have to stop that. We have seniors who maybe in the late 70s came here in Prince George's County when black folks weren't allowed. They got their homes, their neighbors threatened them, they couldn't go to certain schools, and they fought and they stayed and they built. And now some of these seniors are in these homes and they're afraid to go outside because these kids are threatening them. I was one of
those people.
They're afraid to go outside, or the community is growing and they can't afford to stay there because the taxes are going so high and the rent control. And so we need to make sure we protect those, but we do that by being, I say, accountability, meaning that we are accountable to the citizens, but the citizens have to be accountable to the community. We can't let anybody off the hook, because we will quick to point the finger when we fall. But we got to start saying everybody benefits.
It is everybody.
Everybody owes. We all owe, because I want sometimes I go places in Prince George County and it feel good at certain restaurants and see just good black people. I'm not feeling threatened. I'm feeling good. And I'm just like, these are my people. Everybody's doing okay. We're laughing and joking. And I've been around the world. And I haven't seen anything like it. And I want my kids, I want my grandkids, I want my great-grandkids to know that this is our home. I can be successful here, I can be safe here, I can be blessed here, but it comes with a price. It comes with a price of leadership and ownership. And getting mine is not enough. And because it wasn't fair, then I got the right to act up. And a lot of times people come at me and they say, Everett, you new to politics. You coming off too angry. You coming off too frustrated. And I say, well, if you think I'm frustrated, obviously, you ain't talked to some of these senior citizens around here. You ain't talked to some of these moms around here in the school system. You ain't talked to some of the people who don't have a grocery store in their neighborhood. You haven't talked to some, people who've been these young people looking for jobs. And so the other thing that they do is, I have, my kids are in their 20s. I don't figure out how to try to talk to them. And that's why I'm loving this radio station, because there's a generation of kids who have an amazing mindset. They have amazing creativity in the things they do, but they don't seem as if anyone's listening to them, that anyone's communicating with them, or realizing that, a lot of us saying, hey, nobody listened to us when we was in our 20s, you don't know enough. But we have to find a way to engage this next generation, because right now they're not on the path to understanding that they have to be part of the solution.
Okay, I think the key is that individually, we don't take the responsibility to become better.
Yes.
Because if we become better, we can make those people around us better and inspire them to do the same.
Right.
That's the first responsibility I believe that we have as a human being.
But we have to inspire people again. I think a lot of people don't believe that they deserve better. A lot of people have accepted that situation as this is just what it's like to be a black person in this country. So we have to, before, they don't even want to be better because they don't know what better looks like. So we have to show them what better is. We have to get them to better. We have to get them to believe that they have an opportunity to be great, that they have an opportunity to provide for themselves, and that they're responsible on them. So we have to find a way to inspire them, to teach them, to show them, and not get so frustrated when they don't see it, when they're comfortable, and hold them accountable. We got to start knocking on those doors. Politicians, business owners can't be afraid, to come out in 5-degree weather just on a Saturday night to sit down with some real people, like Black Rose, like yourself, Focus.
Everett Browning saying it right here on Phocuzradio. Is Monteria Robinson on the phone?
Not yet. She hung up. Okay.
I'm sorry. Miss Monteria Robinson on the phone all the way from ATL. Hold on for 1 second for me, Miss Robinson. Right here with Everett Browning saying on Phocuzradio. Get out and vote. Why should people vote for Everett Browning Sr.?
The simple thing is simple. If you're happy with the way things are, if you're happy with the direction, if you feel as if you have a voice, if you feel as if the things are going great in Prince George's County, then don't come out and vote. But if you're tired of the status quo, if you want someone to show up who has a proven track record of not only going to war, but being invested in the community, someone who's unbossed and unbought, and someone you know at any time when you call, I'm going to answer. I tell people support me 2 things. When you call me, I'm going to answer, and 2, you're going to know where I stand. You might not always agree with me, but my word is going to mean something. And, giving back is something I owe. So I ask people, vet me. Call me, make me earn your respect and your vote, and remind me every day I work for you. So my website is electbrowning.com. Find me on Elect Browning on Facebook. Give me a chance to talk to you about the community. Give me a chance to educate you on what you can do. But most importantly, give yourself a chance to be more than just frustrating and talking. Do all little things. Whether it's giving money, whether it's knocking on doors, whether it's going to events, get involved. Next Friday in Woodmore, I'm having an event. You can go to my website and find out about it. And my event is about bringing everybody. I talk to people from everywhere, from the Sugar Shack down to the Country Club. I talk to everybody back and forth because I believe we're only as good as the people we get involved. We need all voices. No matter how much money you make, it don't matter your education level. If you dedicated to your community, we're going to be a part of it. So if you're frustrated and you're tired of just talking about it, if you want to be a part of a movement and not just a moment in time, give me a chance to serve you.
Heard it first, y'all, right here on Focus Radio. Everett Browning Sr. running for District 24, State Senate of Maryland. Get involved, get connected, get plugged in. You are now plugged in to Focus Radio.
And if I could just add a PS on that, don't ever tell people don't vote. We've got to get them used to the process. I'm tired of a whole lot of things, but instead of talking about it, I'm going to be about it. And folks, as Mr. Browning said, he said, if you're tired or if you like what you're seeing, don't vote. No, vote. And that's, short of your personal death, vote.
Yes.
301-477-2616 is the call-in number. We have Monteria Robinson on the phone, flying in all the way from ATL, bringing justice to her son's case, Jamaria Robinson. We have been following this case for the last year. Jamaria Robinson was gunned down by U.S. Marshals in Duluth, Georgia, in his girlfriend's home. He did not have a weapon, and it's been proven. So we're going to fight, and we're going to fight, and we're going to fight. Focus Radio will be in attendance on the 10th and 11th in ATL coming up next week alongside my co-host, Rose Brown, and also Angela Taylor will be in attendance in spirit on Facebook, on YouTube, and everything. So you can reach out to all of us.
She can be in spirit with us.
She might.
No, we got other stuff to do.
Yeah,
we got other stuff to do.
Yeah,
somebody got to hold.
Somebody got to hold it down.
That's it.
That's right.
But we have Miss Monteria Robinson on the phone, and we're gonna tune her in. How you doing, Miss Robinson?
I appreciate all the love and support from you all. I look forward to seeing you all on next week. So we'll be hitting the streets of Atlanta on January the 10th. Thank you all so much for joining me. And the reason why we're doing this is because it has been over a year, and I have not received any answers in reference to why my son, Jamarian Robinson, was executed on August the 5th of 2016. And it happened in East Point, Georgia, which is Fulton County. We've been waiting patiently. We've been reaching out to our state and local officials, and no one is responding back. They're blowing me off. Why is that?
What can the community do, Miss Monteria?
Excuse me?
What can the community do to bring more awareness to your son's case?
More awareness. First off, for those who didn't hear me the first time on the show, I would kind of like to give them just kind of like a brief overview of what happened to my son.
Yes.
My son's name, again, my name is Monteria Robinson. My son's name was Jamarian Robinson. Jamarian Robinson was a student athlete at Tuskegee university at the time of his death. He was a biology major. Jamarian comes from a fourth-generation military college-educated family. Jamarian was the oldest of 8 grandchildren. On August the 5th, actually, I'm going to go back 2 days prior to August the 5th. He had just contacted his coach on August the 3rd and informed him that, he just completed his paperwork for school and that he would see him on next week. But on August the 5th, Jamarian was actually murdered. And in the media, they put out their own false narrative stating that an East Point man had a shootout with police. And I was like, no, my family, and I was like, no, that's not my son. My son is not that type of person. He's not a thug or a villain, and I'm not going to let them portray him as being such. But when it was all said and done, someone did capture the video footage of the execution of my son. They captured it from the outside of his girlfriend's apartment. And when we sat down, my family and I, my family, they military people, and as we sat there, we listened. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is just listen, and all you hear is machine guns. You just consistently. It lasted 3.5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And as you're watching the video, you watch the officer walking forward, moving forward. If someone is shooting at you, you're going to retreat. Am I right or wrong?
You're right. You're right.
And after it was all said and done, come to find out, once we hire our investigator and forensic people, first the forensic person say, hey, he found 2 bullets that were enlarged in the floor, which indicated that someone stood over my son and shot down into his body. And after they shot him, 76 bullets into his body. People have to realize 76 bullets did enter his body. My son stands at only 5'6", 150 pounds. So imagine somebody that statue receiving over 76 bullets into their body. Over 90 rounds were shot at him. And after they shot him that many times, they handcuffed him and drug him down a flight of stairs. What kind of people, what could do that to a human being? What was their mindset? Because think about it, when you go hunting, I always use this analysis. If you've ever been hunting or saw it on TV, a lot of times we got to see it on TV, when they're, shooting a deer. And when they shoot the deer, how many times, I'm going to ask you guys this question, how many times do they shoot the deer? Do they shoot it 1 time, 5 times, 10 times, or 20 times?
I have no earthly idea. I am so not an outdoors person. But if I would venture a guess, it would be one.
You're right.
1 time.
Mm-hmm.
Only 1
Yeah.
time.
Right.
And the reason they shoot the animal 1 time is to prevent from tearing the flesh
Exactly.
of the animal.
Because they are professional hunters. Right? So they go out and hunt, and like you said, it's just 1 time, and they know exactly where to Wow, Miss Robinson. I want to ask you, Miss Robinson, and that's what we do right here on Phocuzradio, Miss Robinson. We bring people back, and people disclose things with us because we are just Phocuzradio, and we'll be with you next week. I want to ask you, Miss Robinson, when you seen that video, that person that recorded that video, Miss Robinson, on Facebook, and it went viral after that, did you initially talk to that person and they showed you that video of what happened to Jamarian?
Hey, Phil, your phone went out for just a second. Can you repeat your question?
I was saying that the when that initially happened to Jamarian and that Facebook posting went viral, when that happened, did that person show you the video of what happened to your son Jamarian?
Well, actually, the investigator actually got the video firsthand, and then, it was sent to us. But, so when me and my family, we kind of, put it on the big screen TV, and we just sat there and watched it. And they were, like, noticing stuff. from the house. You see people, after they stop shooting, somebody turn and walk away. Like they were pointing out a lot of things that they noticed as just being military people. And even when they saw his body, they noticed a lot of things too. I didn't look at his body because I didn't want to see. But being that they're military people, it brought up red flags to them. And then, we were under the impression, like, I knew he was shot a lot of, like, in my heart, like, I knew he was shot 20 plus times because it was just so long, and you never heard no one shooting back. And the whole time while they were shooting him, they kept saying, put down the gun, put down the gun. They paused, they start yelling again. But it's obvious that he was dead doing all of that I'm going to call it that made-up gunfight that they were putting on, or that show or act that they were putting on, which they want the public, they wanted them to believe their false narrative, because that's what they put out there first. And what people have to realize, when you see things like that on the news, never believe it, because that's their version. So now when I watch stuff on the news, I go, oh, it's more to that story than what they're saying that it actually is.
Let me ask you, Ms. Robinson. I know since this has happened to Jamarian, have you did any research on police brutality within that city where that happened to Jamarian? Has there been any other cases?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I've pulled together a lot of the moms here, that has actually been through this police brutality. And I think I have about 19 people on my list. So you got Kane Rogers, you have Anthony Hill, you got Thomas, you got Alexa Christian, you got Davis Benjamin, you got Troy Davis, you got Erica Waiters, Troy Robinson, Jabril Robinson. I can go on and on. But what's been happening, they've been sweeping these cases under the rug. Yeah. And another thing, too, these same people who I'm called up, the majority of them, they had the same attorney. And the attorney let their statutes run out, and then he dropped their case. So that's what's been happening here in Atlanta, because these mothers don't know. But see, my family and I, we were asking questions because, it's like things weren't making sense, and you just can't tell us anything and think we're going to go with that. And once we got to that year mark, we was like, time's up for everybody.
But Miss Robinson, I thought that there was no statute of limitations on murder, because
Actually, they're saying that there isn't murder, but there is a statute for, I think the state statute is 2 years when they're trying to, I know for murder they said there's no statute.
Right.
Certain statutes for the state of Georgia is 2 years to file that federal bill. So the mothers were unable to do that, as well as they dropped the murder charges against the officers that killed their kids.
Okay, but they can't. While they can't file a federal suit, they can certainly file a civil suit. Correct or incorrect?
Well, incorrect, because the statute of limitation is 2 years. And so that's what's been happening to the other mothers here. And so what I've been asking the community to do, like how they can help us, support us, write your state and local representatives and let them know about what happened to Jamarian Robinson, and tell them that you're concerned. We have to, it's not just me, it's us, it's we. We have to make a story known. We have to make these state and local officials start holding these police officers accountable, because we can't tell the police to police the police. Like, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't work. Mr. Browning, as someone who wants to be an elected official, what would you say to a parent like that? Because things like that, it's not been like 70, nobody's been shot like 76 times that I can remember. But what would you say, because police, there have been shootings in Prince George's County over time. What would you say to a parent like that?
The
first thing I would say is I'll express my deepest condolences. I can't imagine bearing a kid, and especially a son that seems as if was on the right path of doing the right thing. Being a military man and seeing violence and seeing death, I understand, rightfully so, that when you are trained, there's a line that you can clearly see between self-defense, being righteous, and a criminal act. And there's no, I've been in many military battles, and not in one time in Afghanistan or Iraq or Bosnia or anywhere did I ever see a case for anybody to be shot 76 times.
Exactly.
So there's no reason for a young man to be shot that many times. So what I would say to her is it very important that she continues her fight, because a lot of times what it is that lack of representation, that legal fight. And if you don't have the backing, unfortunately, the financial or the will to keep going, they almost try to discourage you, to time you out, to push you to the point where you're broken, you have to move on with your life. So I would encourage her not to give up. Get people together and go to her local, whether it's city, whether it's county officials, and say, you need to get involved. If you don't get involved, we will get somebody in your place who will get involved.
Exactly.
So we need to knock on those doors and say, a lot of times, unfortunately, we allow a lot of political people to sit on the sidelines, to sit on the fence.
Yes,
so
we
it's
do.
either you're with us or you're against us. There's no staying in silence. There's no standing there and saying, well, it's a complicated situation. I don't want to ruffle the feathers with the cops, because bad cops are the worst thing that can happen to good cops. They want them to go at them hard, because sometimes, unfortunately, we get so focused on the cops and they need to be punished that we let the people on the sidelines, the people who are staying in silence, the people who are supposed to be, who are paid, who are elected to fight beside us, to stand in silence. And I encourage you to hold them to the fire. Just say, you just can't be quiet. Where are you at on this? Yes. Don't tell me you're going to call me back. If you don't call me back, I'm going to have my team in front of your office. You will speak on this, or you be speaking from your house when you're no longer elected.
Exactly.
And that's exactly where we are, too. And I would like to add this to it, just to let you guys know, this is like a key factor. My forensic person did come back and tell me, oh, no, your son didn't have anything in his hands. As a matter of fact, he was shot 6 times in the palm of his right hand and 5 times in the palm of his left hand.
I remember you sharing that earlier.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of goes out the window that he was shooting at them. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
They told the false narrative that it was a shootout. And as well as I did drop the photos of his body on rollingout.com to let people see, like, no, this is not made up. This is actually fact. My son was shot this many times, and to be honest, I was just thinking, okay, maybe because I kept asking the funeral home people, because it was just so much gunfire. I was like, how many times was my son shot? And they wouldn't tell me. And I said, was it about 20 times? I guess he got tired of me asking, because I just heard the machine gun. And he was like, well, I can't give you that information. So I was like, I know it was at least 20 times. I know that for a fact. But by the time, the investigator, went in, viewed the body, he was like, this is horrific, basically. Like, what type of people or human beings could do this to another human being?
Well, I have somebody who has a question, and I guess this could be kind of like a round table kind of thing. Can you explain this is Charlene Tillman Kemp, can you explain to me why our young black men have a target on their backs? Anybody? Now that's for anybody to answer. This is a question that's come across across my screen.
We don't know. We trying to find out. It's I guess it's just by us being who we are.
I have perspectives on that, but I'll let everyone else.
Yeah.
What they can do is follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook along with Instagram and also on the YouTube. You're now plugged in with Monteria Robinson. still fighting for justice for Jamarian Robinson, which is her son. We will be in Atlanta on the 10th of January and also the 11th. We'll be in Atlanta with Monteria Robinson, just trying to come up with some ideas and come up with some ways that we can pull the community together to bring awareness and hopefully bring some justice to these U.S. Marshals that senselessly gunned down Jamarian Robinson. Thanks for tuning in, Monteria Robinson. You can look her up on Facebook. Are you anywhere else, Monteria Robinson, as far as any social media sites?
Yeah, we have social media, Facebook, Jamarian Robinson, and then we have Twitter and Instagram, Justice for Jam. And I also have a GoFundMe, Justice for Jamarian. So if you guys need to reach out to me, just hit us up on either.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right, thank you so much.
We love you.
We love you.
We will see you next week.
We will see you soon.
Ms. Robinson, I will be booking my car rental Monday of this week coming up.
Yes.
And me alongside my manager and co-host, we will be down there.
We love you. We'll see you soon.
I'll see you all next week.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You're now plugged into Phocuzradio. I want to thank Monteria Robinson flying in all the way from ATL. And also I want to thank Everett Browning Sr. also for coming through the Phocuzradio and telling us why it's important to get out and vote and why you should vote for him. Also, I want to definitely show my gratitude for being a vet. I have done a lot of research, Mr. Browning, as far as military vets just thinking that you will fight for your country and you'll be able to come out and get the benefits. And it's like levels to this shit. Excuse my French. And I don't like the way they do a lot of military vets. And I have done a lot of research on you, and that's one of your main things. We fight for this country. We need these. We need these benefits.
Right.
You know, and a lot of these people come home.
Yeah.
I think when before shout out to Barack had got elected, and we had Bush in there. We had a lot of young teens, 19, 20, 21 years old. No arms, no legs, coming home, no benefits, no anything after they done fought in that war.
Well, my brother is a retired major. He too is running for United States, a federal seat on the Hill. But he says that because he was in Desert Storm and all of that stuff, he says that when folks get injured there on the battlefield, they get better treatment there, and they get them stabilized or whatever. And they're good until they get home, and then they don't get what they got there. Is that true?
Unfortunately, there was a time, I know they've done a lot better. Over at the Walter Reed Bethesda Hospital has got a lot better. But for a time...
They have a new facility.
Yeah, a new facility over there. But what happened for a while was military men were looked at almost as a commodity, almost like a weapon, like a gun or a tank, something that was expendable. Like, we're looking for expendable. And the funny thing is, what happened with modern technology was more people came home. Because it used to be during war, those certain injuries, you didn't come home. So the government didn't plan for that many people coming home injured because you died. But as the brothers on the battlefield got stronger and went through. So right now, getting benefit, I work with an organization called the National Association of Black Veterans. And we're working real hard to make sure that the disability laws, that the disability opportunities go so much hungry for those vets. So I ask you to get involved, reach out to your vets, reach out to these organizations, make your voice heard. Because out in the field, we have our brothers. When we come home, we're all alone. And mental health is a problem with veterans, like it's a problem with people in our community. But nothing changes unless we hold our elected officials and our leadership accountable.
Heard it first, y'all, right here on Phocuzradio with Everett Browning Sr. Look him up on Facebook. We got to go to a commercial break. We'll be right back. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Download the free app. Hustle Firm Radio. I'm your host with the most focus feel.
Yes.
Hey, Chris, I'll call you at my perspective.
Okay. So how do we want to do this?
You got some designer to hold on my wrist. I just want some ice on my wrist so I look better when I dance. I be looking at it, put you in a trance. Yeah. Okay.
You gonna ask a question or you want me to?
I can ask the question. I mean, it's up to you. My rolling dog.
I can just bring it in.
Yeah, you can just bring it in naturally.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be better.
Bring it in.
That's all we're here, just bring it in naturally.
Okay.
Now, how did you wanna? Did you wanna?
That way.
You want to
gonna
bring
just
it
ask?
whether we speak on James Butler?
Speak on James Butler.
We can do that. If you wanted to shoot now, we can speak on James Butler. If you want to shoot,
Oh, we can do that right now?
Yeah.
we'll do that. Let me come back and break it out. I'll be right back.
All right, cool.
I'll let it come back. Hey guys, I know in the community, y'all need me there. Y'all need my people there. You let me know. And I'm all on it. I'll get my team out there.
I'll be right back, y'all. I gotta take a bathroom break.
All right. Thank you
Right
so
back, y'all.
much.
Thank you so much for the
Thank
All right, thank you for the
Thank you.
opportunity.
You're so welcome.
Hey, my brother, man. God bless you.
Yes, indeed.
You all love that.
Man, I appreciate it, brother.
Definitely. Got a lot, man.
Hey, we get ready to convert.
I appreciate it, man. And let you been out there doing the deal.
So, are we?
I play on the team, honey.
Can she hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, Millicent. Hey, oh, Alan and Flora. Oh, now you finally calling a sister or showing up. Okay. Hey, Tamika. Oh, that's what he did.
Yeah. I just thought it would be good for he's, doing his thing. He's just coming to film the part, for the commercial.
So it's just, what characteristics would you use to describe James Butler and what makes you believe her? We can record like right now, before you come back on air, and then you can also record once you get on air. And if you just bring it in. Is that what you were suggesting?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
What do we?
We're going to bring it in, and we just want to talk about James Butler's characteristics and what you think he can bring.
It's pretty cool. It's entertaining show. So.
Yeah, it's like this every Saturday. I ain't tooting my own home, but we have it going on.
That's what's up.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, we bring it every week. We try to, get our politicians and especially people who are running in to speak.
Thank you, Charmaine.
We love to get them in.
And Alan,
I'm just trying to raise shoot my stuff.
Yeah, me neither. I just I gravitate to certain people, and James Butler just happened to be one of them. Because he was very honest. He was very honest. He's a leader. Yeah.
He said that all the time. He's very honest, and he's he wants you to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so for right now, what we're doing right now, I can just ask.
And did you want to do it while we're on air, or did you want to just?
When I wanted to get the one off air just for safety, just in case it doesn't flow well with the rest of the interviews that I'm doing.
Okay.
So I wanted to get right now, if we can just ask the questions, get the answers.
Cool.
And then once you're on air, if you want to go ahead and
we get ready to film a commercial, y'all.
Yeah. So when you're on air, if you just want to bring it, I want to capture that.
Okay. So we're off air, Dion.
All right. Cool. So. Here.
Oh, we don't need the earphone.
What did you want us? Oh no.
Yeah. Do me a favor. Yeah. If you could just slide over there with them, and then that way I can go between.
No matter of fact, since it's two ladies, I can get the middle.
I ain't got to move because I'm old.
So we can blend.
So we're talking about James Butler.
Yes, James Butler.
And we have to.
Has he been up here yet?
Yeah, he's been up here, and he was introduced my nephew, he's a DC resident, Newborn, was telling me about a friend of his or somebody he had worked with because he does a lot of architectural work. He's an architect and construction kinds of projects in DC. And he shared with me something about James Butler. And so, because I'm a big proponent of folks knowing who is going to be representing them if they're running for public office. Indeed. So, anybody that we can get in here who's running for public office we do want. And I did a straw interview with him over the phone. But when he got into the studio, I know for me, I like people who are responsive. I like folks who are quick on their feet but give an honest and prepared answer, and folks who are not prepared to be transparent. And Mr. Butler, he encompassed all of those things to me.
Yes, he does. He's a leader.
Yeah.
He's a true leader.
Yeah, he's somebody who, and I don't believe in wasting my time, that if he needed some help getting elected, I could be behind him.
Nice.
Yes, indeed. He's a true leader. He's for the people. He is adaptable. Okay, James Butler is very adaptable. He gets out there. He's in your face. He wants to know what's going on. And he wants to try to do anything he can to help. And he's honest. James Butler for mayor. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
James Butler, to me, stands for strength and stands for hope. I like how it's more of a personable mayor. I've seen the whole process, how he campaigns, which has definitely wanted me to support him. We both, believe in the same vision. He's been here on Phocuzradio, and he has touched issues on homelessness, and also bringing our children home, the missing adults, and also children in the DMV area. And he supported that, and he has definitely reached out to the people, like I say, more personable, as far as an individual versus than having a big campaign of thousands of people behind him. He's the type of person that may knock on your door, may just see you on the street and shake your hand, and will sit there and hold a conversation with you, and also will listen. Right. We need more politicians that will be great listeners. And vote for James Butler.
And we need more community servants.
That's right. Exactly. Let's get out there.
If I could sum him up, people don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Exactly.
And he definitely cares.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Vote James Butler for mayor, y'all.
That was perfect. That was perfect. Cool. So whenever you guys want to come back in, if you guys want to say a few words on air, then I can capture that too, and then I'll be outside.
Okay.
Cool.
Alrighty.
Appreciate it.
This will come in with the business segment. Business Taylor. And then we'll.
Well, I don't have a lot of business today.
You'd have been doing it all week, huh?
You ready?
Yo, y'all know what it is, man. Your host with the most. Right here on Phocuzradio, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us each and every Saturday. This thing kicks off at 6:15 p.m. I am Philip Hall on Facebook, and that's HULL. Mrs. Angela Taylor on Facebook, featuring the business segment 821, along with the other queen of the den, Black Rose, and Rose Brown on Facebook. Yes. Mrs. Taylor,
yes, indeed.
Just give us some tips as far as going into the new year. People are receiving their W-2s. People have spent all of their Christmas money. You got rent time coming up. You got condos coming up. I want you to tell them how to regroup though.
We didn't listen.
We only 6 days in.
We didn't listen, Mom.
Right.
We didn't listen.
We only 6 days in.
Chat in the car.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. How we gonna regroup?
But here's the deal. Just as I Stan Richardson said a couple of weeks ago when he was a guest on the show, if you do not have, at minimum, a home-based business, you are brain dead. And again, I don't care what the business is, because with what Trump has done to the working person, it's criminal. It really is. So again, the tax structure in this country was not designed for the working person. Rather, it is designed for the business person. So we need to find ways where we can turn our bills into business expenses. And the only way that I see is a home-based business. Now, people do aspire to have brick and mortar businesses. Yeah. I get all of that. But you've got to start somewhere. And where can you go and start a business for under $500 and make $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a month? And yes, I do know people who I can reach out and touch who are doing that. So the first thing you have to do, to my mind, is you have to get better. You have to get better so you can make individuals around you better. Right. And have those individuals inspire other people to be better. That is the first thing that's 101 when you're starting any business. So get into your personal development books. Now, I've given you guys a couple of books last year. The Dream Giver is a big one. It's the bomb. It's a big one for me because it really helps you identify the people who are around you. Yeah. And when you can identify, when you know what you're working with, or best stated, if you can measure it, then you can manage it. Right. Okay? Yeah. And go ahead, Phil.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If you can measure it, you can manage it. And that goes for things and people too. All of that being said, let's go back because tax time is coming. Mm-hmm. You've got time to, well, you blew 2017 if you didn't start a business, but start one now. For me, I don't do inventory type businesses because that doesn't work for me. I like to do things that folks in my community, particularly black people, need, like they need oxygen. And that's legal services because we're a country of laws, and I do financial education services. But that's my niche. But again, whatever you do, whatever you decide to do, start being accountable. Start paying attention to where your money is going. Like say, for instance, turn your cell phone into a business expense simply by getting into a business and changing the message on there. That means that bill then turns into a business expense. Right. Instead of, when you go fill up your car for, $1 million at the gas station. Well, not $1 million, but it costs you $70, $80.
It's like
and you
gas
and you take
Yes, it is.
Don't take the gas receipt.
I ride eggs roll be mad that y'all be shaking. I'd be like, shit, hold on. I got some more gas. We can push. We good. It's cold out there though. My baby's saying shit. Gas high though.
Don't take the gas receipt. Rather, go buy a planner and keep it in your car and record your mileage. Again, if you
so it's not the gas receipts, it's the mileage.
It's the mileage. The government is paying you upwards of, I think last year it was 56 cents per mile.
That's good.
And if your tank gets 250, 300 miles to the tank, that's times 56. That's significantly more than the $80 that you put in there. So be mindful of those kinds of things. If you buy paper, if you buy a computer, if you have internet service, in which I know you do, turn that into a business expense. That portion of your cable bundle is a legitimate business expense because you do need the internet in order to conduct your business. If you have maintenance on your home, those things are business expenses because you are maintaining your home office. when as it relates to the square footage of your home, that portion of your mortgage or your rent has become a deduction because you have a home office.
Right.
Maximize those things. Guys, you got to pay attention to your economics because it's going to get worse, at least for the next 11 months, before it gets better.
Yeah.
Now, I want to speak on, we're getting into where we are here in the new year, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I want to speak on, Mr. Taylor, bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
What is bankruptcy and when is the best time to file bankruptcy?
What is bankruptcy and when is the best time to file?
Tell us about this whole...
It's a lot of caveats to that. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. I know folks who... I knew a guy who was making... This was back in the 80s. Who was making like $200,000 a year. And he filed bankruptcy. He was just broke at a higher level. People... and people believe these myths that are out there that, you know, a bankruptcy will stay on your credit report for 7 years.
Right.
Lots of things will stay on your credit report for certain periods of time. But what people do not know is that certain period of time and one day that creditor can put it back on your report. So you got to learn how to navigate around that. You've got to learn about the Fair Credit Reporting Act or get with somebody who knows the Fair Credit Reporting Act and how to get those things off of your credit report and keep them off. Now, again, you had asked specifically about bankruptcy. Again, bankruptcy is not for everybody.
Right,
but it is
yeah.
for some people. Mm-hmm. It just depends on what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't put a blanket statement out there about that because it depends on what your situation is and what your goals are, what you're trying to achieve, and you know the time frame that you've given yourself to achieve whatever goal you are trying to achieve. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Makes sense. I want to speak also on Legal Shield. I want to speak on, Mrs. Taylor, people being secured. People, bank accounts being secured. People, credit reports being secured. And you say, we do all of this with FES. You do all of this with FES.
Financial Education Services.
Right, and Legal Shield.
But the attorneys with Financial Education Services deal strictly with credit. Mm-hmm. Okay. Legal Shield deals with everything else. You have a law firm, you have a law firm. So say, for instance, if you have a bankruptcy question, you can pick up the phone and ask a bankruptcy attorney that specific information. If you have an estate question, you know, when should I, I should prepare my will, you know, what documents do I need to go with that kind of thing. Or if you have traffic tickets, you know, little things can turn into big things.
Yeah.
You have traffic tickets. See, they have a law firm, so they have a cadre of lawyers. Legal Shield has a cadre of lawyers all over the country. So say, for instance, you're home based here in Maryland, so you get your membership in Maryland. But say you go to California, and
it'll be automatically.
And you have a challenge out in California. You call your home base, which is Maryland.
Right.
They'll put you in touch with the law firm in California.
And these are just regular people like you and I that have protection.
Exactly. But I will tell anybody, I told them 15, 20 years ago, and I'll tell you right now today, for $20 a month, that you can pick up a phone and call an attorney and ask how you should position yourself in a certain situation or what your rights are, can save you gazillions of dollars over time. I remember because I had personal experiences. I'm the only one that I know who, when the federal government was the only person who had student loans, I'm the only one I knew who beat a student loan back when it was all government regulated. But again, I would not have known that if I did not have attorney access. I've had contractors come into my home who were going to charge me like $13,000 to do my upstairs bathroom, and that was fine. But after I read the fine print, I said, we got to do something about this. That $13,000, just because I had attorney access, wound up costing us $6,000.
Wow.
But, and just those two things, $20 a month can save you a lot of time, a lot of stress, and a lot of money.
That's right.
LegalShield.com, y'all. Y'all heard it first right here on Focus Radio.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me give them my number because I know
That's right.
That's right.
That's the only way they're going to get the Legal Shield. Tell them.
Courtesy of Angela Taylor.
Okay.
Co-host and queen of the day.
But either one for financial education services or Legal Shield is 301-641-9545. But knowing the folks in the field that I do know, if you have a friend who is marketing Legal Shield, do yourself a favor. Call them up, get signed up, get that membership. Because again, this is a country of laws. When you step out of your door, you can be impacted by anything. Smart people make smart decisions. Be smart.
Heard it first right here with Mrs. Angela Taylor.
Did I give him my phone number?
Give it one more time.
301-641-9545.
Also, I want to tell our listeners and also followers on Facebook, just Google us. Focus Radio. Just Google.
Yeah.
Just go to your Google search, put in Focus Radio. All of this great information you can get. If you want to see these clips, you can go to YouTube, live stream on your big screen TV if you have a smart TV. You can tune into the IG, the Facebook, the Twitter. We are everywhere with this information. We bring awareness right here on Focus Radio each and every Saturday. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Download the free app. We have been going live. I hope you guys have seen these shirts. These shirts are coming soon in stores near you. We are putting together a plan. We are putting together a process. We want everybody to know to be your brand. So definitely want to get one of these Focus shirts and you want to join the movement. We can all come underneath this big umbrella that we got. The business segment, the health segment. We got the Focus News, the Bringing Our Children Home. And Rose, in the show, we're Bringing Our Children Home segment to date. 2.2 million viewers. And what we doing?
We are going to be at the DC General Homeless Shelter for a Relisha Rudd rally. I want y'all to come out and meet James Butler, candidate for DC Mayor. Come out and meet him Saturday, January the 13th. From 12 to 3 p.m. right in front of the DC General Homeless Shelter. James Butler will be out there. We're going to have Irvin, what's his name? Rudd.
Irvin Rudd.
Yeah, we're going to have
let me say something, Rose. It's so much that has surfaced around this case of Relisha Rudd.
Yeah.
Focus Radio has brought the father, the biological father of Relisha Rudd out. Irvin Rudd.
Yes.
So I don't want to go back in the past, or I don't want to ask a lot of questions. Irvin Rudd will be in attendance, the father of Relisha Rudd. So if you got questions,
that's right.
And we already have spoken to him, we already have let him know. He said, I'm going to be there. So he'll be there to speak his piece. I'm sorry, on the disappearance of his daughter, Relisha Rudd. Yes. Tonio Will in the building. I'm sorry, Rose. I just had to let them know.
That's right. Let them know.
We get deep.
Yes. And it's very amazing to find out how involved with missing persons that James Butler is.
Exactly.
He's very involved.
Exactly.
With missing persons.
Exactly.
And that's another great thing about him.
Right.
So y'all please come out and check him out January the 13th.
Exactly. In
front of the DC General Homeless Shelter. We will be out there rallying for Relisha Rudd. Let's bring our baby home, y'all.
I wanna kind of off the record about Mr. James Butler. We have been speaking to James Butler about this visual for Relisha Rudd for 2 months. James Butler told us we can do it in the hardware store.
No, he gave us the option of the whole Ward 5.
What's the name of the hardware store?
Jinx and Sons. Yeah.
35, 40 years in business. That's a great place.
Yeah.
He said we can go upstairs and we can get this thing done. So shout out to James Butler.
Yes.
Candidate running for DC mayor. We are behind James Butler.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
that will give you an opportunity to vet him. Showing up at the Religious rally will give you an opportunity to vet him.
He had gave us 4 places. We can't do it here. We can do it here. We can't do it here. We gonna do it there. We can't do it here. We going upstairs and Jinx and Sons. Hallway right on Bladesburg Road.
Yeah, and he will also be out. James Butler will be out in front of the Justice Department January the 15th for the rally. Enough is enough. We're going to be out there bringing awareness to all of the Marty McMillan and all of the missing persons in the DMV area. Well, actually around the country, because we're going to have different speakers from around the country coming out.
Exactly.
So that's going to be come out and meet James Butler that day.
Right.
You know, come out January the 15th. That's on a Monday, you all. So come out. It gets kicked off at 12 p.m. And I think they'll be going to about 4. So come out and meet James Butler, meet Phocuzradio, and meet the rest of the activists of the DMV area. Okay?
Heard the first man right here on Phocuzradio. Greatest radio show on earth. I want to thank my queens of the dead. Angela Taylor featuring the 821 segment along with Black Rose. I want to thank the whole Hustle Firm Entertainment. I just want to thank the movement, man. It's great coming down here every Saturday. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Download the free app, Hustle Firm Radio. Whatever you do, get out and vote. Like I said, we are not biased here at Phocuzradio, but we just support who we support.
Right.
Who support us. We believe in people that have the same vision.
Exactly.
You stand in one spot, ain't no grass gonna grow.
No.
And everybody come here to Phocuzradio trying to move.
That's right.
So we move.
Make some stuff happen.
Angela Taylor,
yes, sir.
I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for just being Mrs. Angela Taylor, and then along with all the attributes that you bring to Phocuzradio. These tips
crying in the leg.
Seriously, 821 has gone like nationwide. This is like a great thing, Mrs. Taylor. Like, this is a great platform. We're just going to build and build and build. The next thing I want to move into for the 2018 is getting these parents right. Like you said earlier, these babies having babies, Mrs. Taylor. We got to get these brochures out here. We're going to be at your local high schools. We're going to be at your local recreation centers. We're going to be everywhere when it get warm outside. It's cold.
Yes.
I'll go when it's cold. That's how
we do it. We do it. We not going to do it.
Make sure you guys tune into Angela Taylor. Definitely, man. Motivational speaker, businesswoman, a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, veterinarian, a anything. So make sure you tune in. What's the 411 on YouTube with Mrs. Angela Taylor? Each and every Saturday right here on Phocuzradio. You tell a friend to tell a friend to download the free app. January the 13th. That's next. Am I correct? Saturday. I had to count like January the 6th and 7 days. January the 13th, we'll be in front of the DC General Homeless Shelter rallying for Melissa Rudd, featuring Irvin Rudd, featuring James Butler, featuring Angela Taylor, featuring Rose Brown, Antonio Willer, Focus Field, and there was some other people you put on the flyer, Rose.
But we'll be there.
Metropolitan Police Department will also be out there passing out flyers and updating people on information.
Right.
In the Religious Red case. So just come out. Come out and meet your future mayor.
Yes, indeed.
Melissa Rudd went missing.
Speak it.
She went missing from a DC homeless shelter in 2014 at the age of 8 years old. Well, last seen with a guy named Khalil Tatum, who later killed himself, but first killed his wife. And where's Melissa Rudd? So hashtag J4RR Melissa Rudd.
Yes.
We'll have shirts on deck if you want to support the cause. Also, we are giving away 2 coats, 2 Hawk and Company coats to 2 special little girls. Gotta put your name in the bucket. And we'll rally out some other great things and just bring awareness to Melissa Rudd. Keep this whole thing alive. Phocuzradio is the movement. Get plugged, get with us, or get rolled over. And Mrs. Taylor,
Yes,
we
sir.
were in the office yesterday,
Uh-huh.
and I read that Martin Luther King quote. If you can't run, what is it? If you can't run,
If you can't run,
walk.
If you can't walk, crawl.
If you can't crawl.
Wait a minute. If you can't walk, run.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if you can't run, walk. If you can't
Walk, crawl.
But by all means, keep on moving.
That's right.
We gonna end y'all with that, man. Rest in peace to Martin Luther King, Doctor.
Yeah.
His
Martin Luther
birthday
King.
is coming up, y'all. Yes.
And you know what? Hey, you see what I do?
Yeah.
And you see how I ended this thing?
Yeah.
Birthday coming up along with Black History Month.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Taylor.
Yes, sir.
We gonna get at the Mrs. Taylor, Black.
Yes.
We giving that. The whole February is going to be yours, Mrs. Taylor. You're going to get put to work because I know you can bring it. Black History Month, y'all, right here on Focus Radio.
Yeah, go to
Teacher
school.
Angela Taylor.
Bring your pen and paper to the front.
She didn't even know She didn't even know we just gave her that duty right here, y'all, live on Focus Radio. So February it'll be all Angela Taylor for the month of Black History. In February.
That's right.
So get some kids in it.
That's right.
Yeah.
We can do something.
We can do something.
Let's do that Black History Jeopardy.
Yeah, let's do a mini Black History Jeopardy.
Let's get together and have a little giveaway or something. Let's give away a couple of dollars.
Okay.
Let's come up with something.
Black Jeopardy still has a bank.
Right.
That's right.
But you know what? I think we should let the grandkids host it though. Because they won last year. They won the money last year, so we come in and let them be the boss.
Yeah, let's let them host
and we let them ask the questions.
Let's
we do
put it
something
together
different.
though. Let's get it
right.
Let's get some practice in and get it together.
Let's do something different.
Yeah, and it don't have to be as big as your Black History last year. Jeopardy last year, but we can get a couple of them in here and get the babies to host it.
Yeah.
And get them to, bring the questions and all of that. That would be great. Yeah.
All righty, we can do that.
Y'all already know what it is, man. This is what we do right here on Focus Radio.
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor, you plan.
And we have to.
It's not that we fail.
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that is
we
a
have
reality.
We have a guest too that we have to thank for being here.
Oh, Mr. Browning?
No. Calvin over there.
Calvin.
And came and filmed our courtesy of James Butler.
Good stuff.
They came and filmed our commercial tonight, y'all.
I had them all over my Facebook Live.
Yeah, me too. I was sneaking them in. Sneaking them in.
Well, that one.
I'm gonna need yours.
You know what? I was holding back on that as far as the Privacy Act laws, but we are in support of James Butler. So you'll see us on a big screen. Shout out to Calvin. We just did something for James Butler, real special. I ain't gonna put it out there, but
that's right.
You'll see it soon.
See it.
Get out and vote. If you don't vote for James Butler, if you don't vote for BJ Page or Juan Stewart or Everett Browning Senior, vote. Who's going to do the right thing?
That's
right.
You
feel as though
and vet
right
your folks before you vote.
Vote. That's right.
Vote.
But vote.
Our
That's
very
right.
lives depend on.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do, y'all. It's very important to vote.
Absolutely.
It's very important to vote. Okay.
You're now plugged into Focus Radio. Thank you all for tuning in. It seemed like a real nice long show today.
Yeah.
Time flies. We're in the new year. Happy New Year. We're in the 6th day.
Time moves at the same pace every day.
Yes, it
does. It depends on what you do with it.
Right.
6,400 seconds.
What Denzel say? He's running one spot all day, but you gotta move.
Yeah, that's it.
Hey, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in, man. You can see this show on Facebook. You can also see this show on YouTube. And we still at work. Like, we getting off from here, then we go home and think of something else for next week and the next day, the next day. So make sure y'all tune in. Facebook, Angela Taylor. Facebook, Rose Brown. Facebook, Philip Hall. Hull, and we out. Peace.